So the first thing is we need to look for your version of your MacBook. Yes, we go there. So your version is MacBook. Where is it? Okay, Ventura 13.51. Okay. So I'll send you the first link. Let's install. So what we're trying to do obviously is to install the SQL Server. Because it's in the SQL Server that we can create the database. The database has to be in the server. So let's first install the SQL Server. So I'll send you a link on the chat.
Okay.
Is this the link? One more. No. Chat. I'll send you a link in the chat.
All right. I'm just gonna find that now. Do I hear about?
Yes, there. So if you go to the chat, yes, if you click on that one. So we need to look for your version. If you remember, your version was
16.
Yeah, Udok 8.4. Okay, so it's MacBook 13 point. Let's check it again. 1 minute. I'll just write it down. So I will not forget. MacBook 13.51 Ventura. Okay, Ventura 13.51. Okay. So let's go up first to the product version. So you see 8 point, yes. So let's check. Let's go right up. Right, go to about 8.3. Let's check 8.3. You see 8.3. You see they're telling you the Mac is still MacBook 14. If you can see the, so you see Mac OS 14. So it's still not our version. Let's go to the next. Let's check one. Okay. Yeah, so we have seen it's MacBook and it tells you packages for Ventura 13 are compatible with. So this is actually where we want to be. So this is for MacBook 13. And we want to install the x86 64-bit DMG archive. That's the one we are interested in. So the second one, not the first one. The first one is an ARM. We don't need that one. We want the x86. So yeah, the second one. So let's download that one. Yep, and save in downloads. Okay, that's perfect. So let's go now to the second download. Is I'm sending you the second link, which is so the second link is what we call a workbench. And what workbench is simply an interface for us to write our SQL code. So we have the database similar to Visual Studio. Visual Studio is the interface to write the Python. So similar, we have what we call a workbench, which is our interface to write our SQL code. So I've sent you a link on the chat again.
It's coming.
Okay, again, I've sent it to the wrong chat. Okay, let me send it here. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, I've sent it. Sorry. So we want to install again. We want to look for Mac. Yes, product version. And yes, let's try. Yes, let's try any of that. So just click on that. Which one is this now? It does. Okay, go to the one ahead. Let's see 3.33. Let's see. Which one is this? It's not specifying the version per se.
MySQL Workbench Community 3.3. It doesn't. It just says, it still says packages for Ventura 13 are compatible with this.
Okay, let's go to the latest then, and let's see the latest if it tells us.
Still okay.
Okay, so
package support latest version, some
okay, so let's go to the version below this, so that because yes,
I was thinking of even upgrading, but I don't yet know.
Yes, that one. Okay,
Because
that's perfect.
each time you upgrade, your computer can crash. It's happened to me a number of times.
Okay. So we go, yes, again to the second one, x86. Yes, that one. Let's download that one.
What is ARM?
Honestly, I don't know what. Okay, ARM and X are just the processors.
Okay.
Yeah, so ARM 64-bit is just the type of processor. ARM are the processor. So sometimes they differ, but most Mac books, especially the latest ones, are x86 for some reason. So usually when we use ARM, it tells us not compatible for some reason. Maybe it's by region. Maybe people who buy MacBooks from the UK and America are mostly x86, and maybe another region will ARM, but most of them are ARMs. Okay, so we have one is still downloading. I think that one is still downloading. We have the MySQL. Yes, that first one. Let's click on that. Let's install that now. So you can double click on that. Yeah, double click again. So allow. Yes, allow. Okay, it's installing. Thank you for choosing yes. Continue. Continue. Okay. Is there anything down? No. Okay, I agree. Yep. Install. You can choose the location where you want to install it. All users of this computer, yep. So install. You need to, okay, yes, it's requesting your password to install it. Why is that one? Okay, let's go back and come back. Wow. Why is it still downloading?
I can't believe it's already to 6 o'clock. It doesn't make sense to me.
It happens. Now you walk, and even me, before this meeting, I was like, it's getting 5:30 and I'm not even finished what I have to do.
I like even half. I'm not even half of the things I would.
I don't know how we'll do this time. Okay, successful. So yes, create use. Yes, you can use strong encryption. That's fine. Let's put next. Okay, you have to create a password. That is a very important. Remember that password because we're going to use it later on. So it's your root user password.
We did the same for what was it?
So that's the password. You remember when we went to Visual Studio and you wanted to connect to that server?
Yeah.
So this would be the password for the server. So to connect to the server, you need this password to connect from Visual Studio to the server. Yeah.
I hope I remember. There's so many things you have passwords. I'm like just
exactly, and we will use it now. So maybe you will not need to cram it, and that's perfect. Close. You can move to bin. And if there's a place to check. If you go to your there's a place you're going to, let's see, was it the Finder? Can you go to the Finder?
Can you see what I'm showing you?
Yeah, I'm seeing what you're showing me. I cannot see MySQL there. Yeah, go to the find. Is it Finder?
Yep.
There should be. It had to appear somewhere. Where does it usually appear?
I'll need to probably open it again.
Okay, there's a place where you can find that. Okay, after you install it, I think it's in. Is it the Finder or settings? It's already installed, so there should be a place it will appear. Okay, that's it. Is that MySQL location? Am I seeing MySQL there?
Yeah.
Do you see MySQL at the?
Yep, it's here. Active installed.
Exactly. Install instances. So it's running. Okay. Okay, that's perfect. Instances are running. Yeah, so that's what we want. It means the server is running. If you downloaded the wrong version, that server will not be running. So that's perfect. We can now go to the downloads and see if we have our Workbench installed. Why is it that way?
There is no application set up. Open the document.
Okay, let's delete this one and try to download that previous one again. Yeah, let's go back to our email, to the website where it was. Yeah, so this is, these are all, okay, this was a 3 yep. And we wanted X2 DMG. Yes, that's what we wanted. So download. Yes, let's save. Hopefully it goes now. Let's check on the downloads again. Okay, I've seen yes, downloaded. Okay. Okay, let's check on the.
Check internet connection. Resume.
What?
Keeps falling off. Okay.
Okay, it means for some reason. Okay, it's gone now. Why? Why is the thing disturbing? Okay, that's it. Yeah. So, yeah, I just want to say let's maximize. Okay, you can click on the applications. Yeah, click around the one of them.
Just drag it and drop. Okay.
Microsoft Workbench. That's it down there. We may have to. Have you seen it?
This
Yes.
one.
Let's open any one.
So I can delete one, yeah?
You can delete one. Yeah. Open. I think the icon is showing down there. That's it down there. Jumping. Yeah.
It's loading.
Okay.
I think it's preparing itself.
Okay. Perfect. And you can see your local host. So that's the server. So if you click on local instance, that password. So we are now trying to connect to that server.
If I can't remember the password, connection warning, license that incompatible, never server. The connection to this database can be established but some MySQL benchmark feature may not work properly since the database is not fully compatible with the support.
Okay. So Workbench is not fully compatible. Let's continue anyway. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Perfect.
So it's more like Visual Studio.
Yeah. So we are now in the server and we want to create So we have the server, but there's no database in the server. So we want to create a database in the server. So let's go to our Teams channel.
Sorry, I'm on full mode like this steps Teams channel.
Asha.
So it's my own stupidity, my brother. It's not. So Microsoft Teams. Oops. What am I supposed to do now?
What do we do here again? Yes, perfect. So let's go to our the second Teams 2. I put it in Teams 2. Yes, after that, adding things in Teams 2. Yeah. Yeah, group 2. So you can click on General. Go to the files. And we have SQL databases. Let's click on SQL databases. We'll be using the Sakila database. So we want to create that database in our server because that is what we'll be using to learn SQL. Yeah.
Okay.
So we want the tar because zip is for people who have Windows, but we want the tar for you. So you want to download this? Yes, that one. So let's download that one to the computer. No, sorry. Yeah, the 3 dots. Let's click on the 3 dots instead. Yes, and click on download. Yep. So that should have gone to our download. So we can close that.
I'll leave this mode. This one.
Yes, you can leave that one. You can minimize that one.
Because it just makes things.
Just minimize that. Yeah. So if we go now to the downloads, we have, yes, that is it. So let's open it. So yes, open. Under it, we have the Sakila data schema. So let's run the data schema first. So the schema is creating the database. Yeah, so we have that. You can select everything. So if you do Command A, yeah, so that golden arrow up there, yes, that one will run the entire script. So let's run that. So that's perfect. So what he has done is that script was the script to create the tables in the Sakila database. So those tables have been created now in the database, but the tables are empty. There is no data in the table. So if you look at, you see it created an actor table, it created an address table, it created city, country, it created multiple tables for the Sakila database. And now the Sakila database is just a database about a movie database. So there is this company that rents out movies to customers. So it has a database where of the different stores where it rents out its movies. So we'll be using this when we learn about SQL, learn databases in SQL. So now we have the database, but it has no data within it. So we want now to add the data. So if you go back to the folder again, there was another script called data.sql. So the first one was schema, which is what we run. There is this data. Yes, we want to open that one. And again, if we select everything, so you see this is information in each of the, so it's adding now, we have empty tables, but it wants to add information to those tables.
All right, because so let me just understand something. So yes, in this folder, this schema, it's the structure of organization of information.
Yes. So
then this data itself is the actual data that fits into the architecture.
Yes, exactly. So there is this company called Sakila they have made this information available to people who want to learn SQL. So that, because if you want to learn SQL, you need data to be able to learn the SQL. Yeah,
Cool.
so they have created the architecture to store the data, and they have also given us the actual data to put in that architecture, so that we can use that to learn. Yeah, so you can see a lot of data, and which is just available for us to learn. So yes, if you do Control A, similar,
I
and you
noticed
go,
something quite interesting.
yeah,
Before the data, the code on this, I don't know what this stands for. It's like numbers of the code bar. So you had one from one.
yes. So that's so this is the SQL script. So that is just giving you the line numbers.
The code, okay, yeah, makes sense.
The line numbers, because sometimes when you have an error, you see everything was green. If you look at when we ran the schema, you see that everything at the bottom. If you go to the bottom where we have, yes, everything there showing green, it means everything ran well.
Yeah.
When you have an error, it will indicate the line number where the error occurred.
Good.
So to debug that error, you just go to that line number in your code and check what error you got in that particular area of your code.
Excellent. All right.
Yeah.
So that's input output.
Yes, that was input. This is the output. This is giving you a response feedback about the running of your code. Yeah. So this, yes, exactly. So we now want to run this as well. So if you go now to that side, if you click on it, it's running as well. And it's finished running. And you see we didn't have any red signs. It means it has added all the data to the database. So if you go any place where you see insert, if you go up a little bit, insert into, yes, after the create, go down a little bit, go down again, a little bit, go down again. And so I'm saying go up. Yes, go up, sir. Yes. Go up. Yes. So any place from we start seeing insert, it's inserting those values, that data into that table. So every insert, it inserted those values to the category table, inserted those values to the city, country table, and so on.
Okay.
Yeah. So now we have a database in the SQL server called Sakila. And that database has all of this information which we have put there. The schema was what we defined. The architecture of the database was what we first created. And so that's what we'll be using to practice on how to retrieve data from a database.
Yeah, I like the sound of that because it makes sense now to me why you actually study cybersecurity, because and why we have the password, because if I can access any port and access any data, then
exactly.
So SQL injection,
SQL injection, and the greatest part of cybersecurity is not about emails; it's about data. Yeah, that's where companies are protecting. Yeah, that's where the money is. So everybody's trying to access data because data has more money than cracking someone's email or you just access. Imagine you access the data of your bank and you just change your money. You just add 1 0 in your. You just add 1 0. Yeah, so that's where
the world is going to go to. Actually,
yeah, that's
next
where
10 years we'll have
exactly.
This is good. This makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So normally when we're learning SQL, we can use this workbench. Right? You see that in this workbench, we are writing the code to create the schema. Within this workbench, we have run the code to insert data into the architecture. So this workbench is a good interface for us to use to query the database. But we will not be using this workbench. What we'll be using is Visual Studio. There is a server. Yes, sorry.
And that environment can allow us query the database.
Yes. So cool. Visual Studio can do exactly what we are doing here. We can also do it in Visual Studio, and there are many other softwares that we can access that server. The main thing is the database is in a server. You can use Workbench to access it. You can use Visual Studio. There are many other softwares. But the reason is why are we not using this and we're using Visual Studio? The main reason why we are using Visual Studio instead of this is because remember we installed Copilot in our Visual Studio, and the power of Copilot is to help us to complete our code.
Yep.
If we use this, we don't have access to that, to the remarkable functionality of Copilot, because Copilot was installed in our Visual Studio.
Yeah.
That is why we're using Visual Studio. The only reason why we're using Visual Studio is because we want to have access to Copilots to help us to complete our code, and that's why we're using. But generally, Workbench is more powerful than Visual Studio when it comes to database management and everything. Yes, it's more powerful. But the only reason that Workbench does not have currently have that Copilot, yes, the completion, the AI capability.
I can see even the idea of Python where you code with Python. I don't think you have this in Workbench.
Yes, you wouldn't have in Workbench. Yes, Workbench is strictly for SQL. Yeah, it's strictly for SQL. So now let's round this up now, going to Visual Studio. Similar to, you remember we went to Workbench there, we connected to that server. Let's go now to our Visual Studio and connect to our server, because our server now has the database. So you can close the Workbench. You can close this Workbench.
Okay.
Yes, we do not need the Workbench anymore. So let's go to our Visual Studio Code. And this is our Visual Studio Code. We now want to connect to our Workbench. We have our root. We just want to add the password.
All right.
So you go to that password.
Where is that again?
Yes, yes. Just add that same password. Yes, and let's click on connect. So everything is the same. You don't need to change anything. It's the root. The server is our local machine. And you have clicked on connect. Did you see what changed? Look at your left. You remember there was a connect to your left. You no longer see that connect. You now see the server. That is the server.
Okay.
If you click on the server, you now see the database. Yes. If you click on the database, you see all of those tables. Click on it, you see all of those tables which we created. And if you click, let's click on one of the tables, for example. Let's click on payment or any table. Yes, actor. Yeah, anyone. You see all the information which we inserted to that table. This is the information which is in that table. But now all of this is in a database called Sakila.
Okay.
Yeah, so we now have access to that database. We have access to the data. We can write queries to extract the required data we need. Remember, this is a lot of data. So most often in a business, you extract the data you need. So for example, you may want to understand actors that are found in New York. Yep. So you have to come to this database that has all actors in the entire US and just filter out, yes, only the actors of New York. Maybe you want to analyze it. So this is how so a database has all the data, but most often the data analyst will only query the data that he needs. So he will always do filters on the data that he needs. Yeah. And that's what we basically learn in SQL. SQL is just learning how to retrieve the data we need to answer a business question. Yeah. So thank you. That's all. That's all. So now you have access to the data. If you start learning SQL, you can start writing your code. So one question, how do you write your code, right? So similar to anything, your code has to be end with a .SQL file. So if you go to your file and you create new file, for example, and let's call that file test. Yes, test. Let's put SQL. SQL. It should be small letters.
Why small?
Yes. Yes. If you click enter, so it wants to save in downloads. Yes. Let's create. So now you see that even close to the SQL file, you see that it gives it that database sign. you see that red icon near the, yes, you see that it's similar to the database icon.
Yep.
That we have at your left hand side down there. Yes, if you go down again, so if you go to your left,
this one,
where you have, yes, you see that icon for database is similar to the icon of the file. This is just telling you that, yes, this file will be interacting with your database. So any information you want to write now to interact with your database, you write in this file and you run it, it will interact with your database.
Okay, so this file I've created,
yep,
which is my test
.sql.
If I write anything, I will go into that file.
Yeah, yes, if you write anything on this file and you run what you have written. So for example, if you write use Sakila, so just put use, yes, Sakila, yes, semicolon, Copilot is doing his work, semicolon, semicolon, yes. So if you see that there's a run button at the close to, yeah, if you put the run, no, not right one. Just go and click on that one. Yes, click on it. It has run. What use Sakila it's saying is because to interact with that database, you need to write a script. You need to write code to interact with the database. So you have created this file it's like the interface between you and the database, right? So anything you want to do to that database, you can only communicate with that database through this file. Yes. So that code we have written is that we have told the database we want to use the Sakila. So now the database has received that command and said, okay, I give you permission to do anything with the Sakila database. So after this, the next code you can write can be, for example, let's say, okay, go down and just, yes, he has even given you a command. Put select star, just put shift, yes, select star, space, yeah, put space. Sorry, yes, there should be a gap between select and star. Yes, star. Yes, from actor, semicolon. So remember, we asked the database, I need permission to use Sakila. That's what we said, use Sakila. So this syntax is specific. So you cannot write any other thing. It's specific. So in order to use Sakila, you must use that keyword called use. So it's what we call the syntax of communicating, similar to English, right? In order for me to communicate with you, there are certain fundamentals. To say hello, I need to say hello. I cannot say bonjour in English and it's hello. Hello is hello. So we will learn the syntax to communicate with the database. So the first syntax is we have asked the database use. He has accepted. We have now said, give me select star means we're telling database, give me all the information in that table called actor. That's what select means. Select means give me all the information. So let's run that select star command. So again, that one is the one above select star.
Oh,
yes, that one. And it prints out all the information from that table. So if we want to add information, there will be a keyword for us to use to add information to this table. If we want to take information from multiple tables, there will be a keyword and so on. So this is our interface for us to use to communicate with the database.
okay.
Yes. And
So,
that's what we will, yeah, sorry, yeah.
One last thing is, any automation that I run on this data and say, will it affect the database? Or
Yes,
affect the interface?
Yes, if you update inform, because this selecting is just asking for information. So you're not changing information, but if you run a command to change information, so there are commands called like update or insert. If you do, let's say insert, if you put insert into actor, so yes, just shift, do a shift Do a shift to accept all the, okay. Continue. Round bracket. Is it a shift at my end? How do you, yes, how do you accept? In my end is a shift, not a shift, a tab. Sorry, I've been saying shift. Click tab. Yes. So that was a suggestion from ChatGPT, right? Copilot. So to accept Copilot's suggestion, you just click on your tab button.
Nice.
Yes. Yes. So what this statement is saying, I want to insert into actor the first name, the last name, the values. I want to insert an actor called John Doe into this table, right? So let's run that. Okay, you run that already. So if you go back now and say, select, give me everything in actors table. Select star, yeah. From actor, yes, tab, yeah. Let's run that. And if you scroll down, let's go. So because it's adding to the table, it has to be at the last. It's a new row that will be added. We do not see John Doe, and the reason why we are not seeing John Doe is if you look at the command, this algorithm has limited our command to the first 100 actors. So let's remove that. Yes, exactly. Let's put 1,000. You can put 1,000. How do I run from there? Okay, let's do it up here. Let's do it. So let's remove that semicolon. Let's go back to the code up. Yes, that one. Let's remove the semicolon, put limit, add limit, space, limit. Let's put 1,000. And let's put the semicolon and let's run that and see. So let's scroll to the end. I don't think they are up to 1,000. Okay, do you see John Doe there at the last? So there were 200 actors in our database, and we added John Doe, and that is John Doe.
Okay. Now let's remove John Doe.
So the database has changed. So that table had just 200 actors. Now we have created a 201 actor. And obviously, if you want to add more actors, you just keep adding data. If you want to add more customers, more films, and you can imagine that this will be done in the real world. This will be done through a system, a front-end system, where maybe a consultant is working, or let me say the clerk will be working, and a command will come from her boss. Please, can you add this customer? A customer comes to register. Can you add this customer to the database? It will not, the clerk will not come to the database. She will just add it through a system. But what happens at the back end of that system is exactly what you are doing now. In the front end, when you register in a university, you put your name, your phone number, and you click register. At the back end, there is an SQL script that is interacting with the database and is taking all the information you have added to that system, writing a code similar to what you have written to interact and insert the data into a database. Yeah. So that's basically how it works. Yes. Yeah. But when you go through the video and even in our classes, you understand better, and generally, yeah. So that's it.
Makes sense, brother.
Okay. Okay. Okay, boss. Thanks so much. So much. Yes. Thanks so much. I think this will be very helpful for the other iOS users as well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Nice one, bro. Bye.
Yeah.